Sometimes I feel like I'm chasing a ghost. Especially when people misquote me and want to put words in my mouth. Pretty good sized deer tracks. It's going to make it real easy to track right here where they've graded. The side of this road is all fresh dirt. Anything crosses this road, steps into this soft area, will have foot impression. Look how dark it is over here in these woods. Something could be hiding there, you'd never see it, would you?
Right.
Really tough to present what we're doing up here in such a way that you guys understand what's going on. I mean, some of you guys understand what's going on, but I've been getting a lot of flack lately. People making assumptions when all I'm really advocating for, what the hell is that? Is if you're going to call somebody a hoaxer, give an example. Provide some evidence. To just come out and say, well, so-and-so was hoaxing because I don't like so-and-so, and they said such and such, and that's crazy. Bigfoot's crazy, people. Might not be crazy to you guys because you hear about it all the time and you say it every day, but to normal people it's crazy. And I'm not as quick as I used to be to label people, simply because I have experienced some stuff that I haven't even shared with almost nobody. The reason I haven't shared it is because I know the response that's going to follow. It's become clear to me that we're not going to prove, no one's going to prove the existence of Bigfoot aside from a body. And I'm beginning to think that that's not possible. Everybody goes, we want a body, we have to have a body. What if there isn't a body available? I can't come up with an exact analogy, but like I can tell you, for instance, I could take a picture of a jet fighter. I could say, there's a plane overhead, and you guys could go, I don't believe you. It's CGI, you faked it. Prove to me that that plane's real. Well, of course you guys are going to say, well, we'll just go to the airport. But what if you didn't have that available to you? What if you and I were right here on this road and we didn't know jack squat, forget that we know what jets are. You could see it in the sky, but you couldn't hand it to somebody. You could come back with photos. You might even be able to come back and go, did you hear that? That's the sound of that jet. And if somebody says, body, we need body, end of story. Like Dr. Todd, this is hell. He's right. If we had a body, it would be the end of the story. But maybe this is the type of phenomenon that won't give you a body. You're not going to get that sort of evidence. You have to find another way of presenting the evidence. And much like it's impossible for me to tell you guys, wow, this place is beautiful. It just hits you right there. I can't take a piece of beauty. I can't take the forest and put it in a box for you. I could bring back bits and pieces, but I couldn't turn around and go, here's the forest. I mean, I can even show it to you. I can go, this is the forest, but it's really not the forest. It's just a piece of it. I guess what I've been trying to say, trying to harp in on, is this isn't a quick fix. It's not, you just can't sit home behind your computer and go, oh wow, look at the size of those moose tracks. That's pretty fresh too. Look at that right there. That's a nice moose track. Yeah, you just can't. I mean, you can sit at home, but you're not going to get the answer. You can debate endlessly and you can say, logic and reason. Use all the language that you want. Because I have been at this for several years. There's a bunch of people that have been at it for several years. And I can come back and I will tell you guys, hey, we heard this thing smash these huge rocks together. Couldn't have been people. And what do I get? Oh, it's somebody with firecrackers. It's somebody with gunfire. It's a person. We heard those rocks clack. The next day we went and did recon, and we were in the woods. And this is the road, and where we heard that rock clacking is, you know, mile and a half in that direction. And there's like 4 or 5 miles of woods here. Just woods. There's no trails between here and, you know, 5 miles away, or however far it is. We did some experiments up here to see how far you can hear rock clacking. Just a couple hundred yards, that's it. That's the extent of it. That means that whatever was smashing those rocks together was really close to us. We went back up during the 4th of July, which was just last weekend. Look, there's where another moose slipped down the embankment. No gunfire, no fireworks, nothing. Just like right now, listen. See, it's quiet. To me, and to Lady K, that rock smashing was unbelievable. Coyotes and bears don't do that. We didn't fake it. I didn't fabricate that rock smashing. There was nobody else up here with us. I don't think a person would have the strength to smash those type of rocks together. And whatever was smashing those rocks together was intelligent enough that it was interacting with us, communicating with us. And I don't know what that is. I don't. And then last week we were up here and we had a bunch of welcoming vocals, just like right now. I come up here and I do this. Woo! And just as it got dark, we were here about a half an hour. Right here somewheres. We heard what sounded like a loon, and there's a lake, not a lake, a small pond, but it's like 3/4 of a mile in this direction. You're not going to hear loons from there. Then immediately it sounded like a barred owl, and then it sounded like a cowboy. Woo-ha! Like that. Woo-ha! And a lot of other associated noises. Lady K has seen one of these creatures up here a couple years ago. She saw one, thought it was a person. We had a day where we had a whole series of trees knocked down around us at a frequency that wasn't natural. They weren't just falling on their own. So maybe you guys can see why I grow weary of the debate. I really do. I get tired of debating it. I had an open invite during the month of May for anybody that wanted to come up here. One person showed up. I spent almost the whole month up here. I spent a solid week up here by myself. Lady K and I have been up here almost every weekend, every other weekend. So no, I don't expect you to believe me. I don't care what you believe. I can tell you this, if you spent the amount of time that I've spent and you were to go to some of these places, you'd be hard pressed to just debunk this out of hand to Wayne when Wayne called in the whole pile of these things. I don't think it's quite so important, because a lot of people are like, how do you know what you're saying? Well, you don't. You don't know what you're saying. But you're announcing yourself. Strangely enough, when I was in Venezuela on that show Out of the Wild, the Pomone Indians, when they were in the jungle, would do a similar call, because the jungle's real dense, and so they go, woo, woo! They'd make this real loud noise, kind of just a hoop, to let somebody know where they were. So instead of trying to shoot one or trick one, our protocol now is to show a little bit of respect, like you would to somebody's house. You come to the house, you knock on the door, you announce yourself. And I see where people are catching flack. One individual in particular, which for some reason a bunch of people think that I'm just a staunch supporter, when all I'm calling for is, if you're going to say somebody's a hoaxer, buck up, provide an example, provide some verification. Just because a person is reporting something that you think's crazy does not mean that they're a hoaxer. Doesn't even mean they're lying, especially if they're reporting something like the portal incident, which had collaborating witnesses. It's documented online. I don't know if it happened or not. I wasn't there, but I'm not going to call these people liars and hoaxers. So these same people are, leaving food out, gifting, and they've caught criticism. People are like, oh my gosh, you're feeding the wild animals. Have you guys ever left bird seed out for the birds? You ever gone fishing, throw your worms in when you're done? I mean, come on, seriously? That's your complaint that they're leaving food in the forest? The amount of food that is left in the forest by these so-called habituators is not going to cause bear attacks. This isn't at Yellowstone. They're not leaving dumpsters full of food. And in Maine anyways, it's legal to bait bears. You can go into the forest and take a 55-gallon drum, fill it right full of donuts. It's not illegal. I think it's a pretty weak position. Maybe, just maybe, instead of screaming and pounding the gavel at someone's full of crap, maybe you guys ought to go out and find out if they're full of crap. And go out more than once. I saw one person, well, I went out. I found as much as they did. I found nothing. How many times did you go out? Where did you go?
Whatever it is, it's moving. It's big. Well, whatever it was, it took off. I couldn't really tell. It's too dark. It was in the middle of the road.
We certainly got our early start this morning, didn't we, Lady K?
Yeah, it's 4:30.
It's 4:30. We must have been up at 3:34.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it was pretty spooky walking up on what I'm pretty sure was moose in that road.
Yeah. Yeah, it could. Well, from afar, it could have been bear too, but
They were tall.
Oh, they were tall.
They were tall, and as I got closer to them, I could tell there was something dark in the road down there by that brook. I couldn't make out what it was, and I kept walking closer to it, and it kept getting bigger and taller, and it looked like there was two at one point, like one tall one and one shorter one. I was like, is that actually a person standing in the road? But I'm pretty sure it was a moose. Yeah. I couldn't make out it. I couldn't get a picture of it, and I couldn't really get close enough to it.
You couldn't hear it walk away.
I didn't hear any noise. I could see it was like a shadowy form, and I could see it. As I got closer to it, it stood there, and at some point it went further down the road and then went into the woods.